The item property. The item property is associated with edit forms and display forms. Now, not to be confused with items property. Now, the item property is associated with forms, while the items property is associated with galleries, data table, charts, and other things. Now we are talking about the item property. Now the item property displays or shows an item from the data source, a particular item from a data source, or a row from a data source. So for example, the data source of this form, let's check the data source, is the application 5. Now the same data source is connected to this gallery and it is connected to the items property. Now, if you want to show any of these items in the gallery on the form, then we'll be making use of the item property on the form. So let's go to the item property, and to show whatever is selected in the gallery, we are going to use the name of the gallery, that is gallery 1. Gallery 1 dot selected. So the first item is shown in the form. So when we pick the second item, it changes. And we pick the third item, it also changes, but we don't have any data here. So that is the item property of the form. Now there are also a couple of ways of showing the item. For example, we have this data table, which is sitting in a different screen. Now the first example I showed, both the gallery and the item are on the same screen. So when they are sitting on a different screen and we want the item selected in this data table to be shown in another screen, then we are going to use a variable. So assuming we use this button to navigate to where the form is located, we are going to create a variable on this button. So and set a variable, set my selection. Let me call it my selection. That is the item that I have selected. My selection. Then the name of the data table, that is data table 3. Data table 3 dot selected. In other words, whatever is selected in this data table should be held or held in this variable selection. Now then let's navigate to the screen. Navigate. Screen 2 where the form is located. Okay, so then we can put the selection in the item of the form. So instead of using the gallery, let's create this and put the selection here. Okay, so you see that currently nothing has been selected. The button has not been clicked, so the variable is empty, doesn't contain any data, so the form is empty. Let's go to a screen where the variable is, and then click on the form. After clicking on this button, supposed to create a variable, and that variable has been attached to the item of the form. So whatever is selected here should appear in the form. So let's select the second item and then click on the button. nothing is showing there, so let's check the item. Okay, we see that there's nothing here. The name of the variable have not been put there, so let's copy the name of the variable, and in the item property of the form, let's put it there. So we see that whatever was selected has reflected. Now the second one, let's select the first one and then click on the bottom. You see that it has also reflected. So this is a very important property of the display and edit form. Thank you very much.